Hey everyone, Joshua Kirk here with you once again, and now it's time for episode 233 of Album of the Day, in which for today's album review, I'm going to be reviewing the new album, as well as the latest collaboration between two people from the alternative world, Karen O, who is best known for being the lead singer and frontwoman for the indie rock band Yeah Yeah Yeahs, who are best known for their song Maps, and Danger Mouse, a Grammy-winning New York producer, songwriter, multi-instrumentalist, and DJ who's done work in a variety of different projects, like his own stuff, including Gnarls Barkley and Broken Bells, along with producing albums by artists like the Black Keys, Beck, the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and Michael Kiwanuka. And they're finally here with their first collaboration together, released on March 15th, 2019. And the album is called Lux Prima. Very cool album cover that I have here on vinyl. And I'll go I'll go a little more in depth about this record later, but first I want to show you the very cool vinyl packaging. There's 9 songs on here, and it's over 41 minutes, and I really like how for each song there's like a little symbol for each one of them, a little visual. Very cool gatefold over here. And then it's kind of like a very cool fold-out poster with artwork and liner notes. And then there are the lyrics. And it does sound really good on vinyl, by the way. There's side A, and then there's side B. Yeah, and I really like the kind of psychedelic artwork, kind of like the colorful goo going on here. Yeah, and it fits kind of the colors of the album too, I must say. Yeah, and that's the final packaging for Lux Prima, the new album by Karen O and Danger Mouse. Now, this was a project that I definitely was partly very curious about, but also this was a project that I was also very surprised by. For good reason. Like these two people, Karen O, I've been aware of her in the past, and but she's never really put out anything that's really caught my attention. And also, as for Danger Mouse, while I really like some of his projects, including his work with CeeLo Green and Gnarls Barkley, I find that he tends to kind of wear his influences blatantly on his sleeve, and also I find when he produces someone else's album, he does tend to overproduce it a little bit, and that's a problem I have with records that he produced by the Black Keys and people like that. Though he did actually produce one of my favorite rock records of last year, the new Parquet Courts record, which that is a record where you can't really detect Danger Mouse in the album, even though the album does see Parquet Courts experimenting a little bit. I love how Danger Mouse I really like how Danger Mouse didn't try to turn them into another band. They just let them rock the hell out and make a kick-ass album. But I definitely thought, because when I had heard of this project, that they could, that maybe their personalities could mesh well together. And sure enough, Lux Prima, both of these artists most certainly do. Creating a very grand, otherworldly, but yet very accessible and beautiful indie pop record, featuring some pretty ambitious and long opening and closing track, creating a really cool circular effect for the album. And like while Karen O still maintains that kind of serene, sensual quality in her voice, she also has moments here where she's just full-on kicking ass, like on the song Woman, my favorite track here on the album. I mean, the lyrics on here are just so simple and so in your face that they just fit her vocal performance very beautifully. And she just sounds like a woman that, will not give a shit and, is just, proud to be who she is, despite people trying to bring her down. So this is essentially an anthem for all those women out there who kind of have dealt with some pretty horrible stuff in their life, like, for example, anyone who's been, sexually harassed or like kind of, become part of the Me Too movement, I think can relate to the song too. Kind of trying to tell themselves that they are stronger than anything. And I also really like the production on here. It complements her vocals very well. Some Motown drumming with a significant amount of reverb, some kind of spooky psychedelic keyboards, a really cool bass line too, and some catchy little backup vocals that do have a little I'm a woman, yeah, hook at the end. Definitely a fantastic track. Another song that I feel really does show the biggest strengths of both of these people is the song Redeemer. Karen O's performance on this thing, phenomenal, and probably some of the best lyrics on the entire LP. And Danger Mouse's production, I think, complements it beautifully with some wah-wah guitars, some kind of staccato-like electric pianos, killer drumming, beautiful strings all around, just a pretty big highlight of the record. Anyway, I do also want to talk about the song "Turn the Light," kind of buttery, smooth funk track that I really like. Really love the woozy keyboards. It's kind of steady drum beat, which is definitely a program beat, but it sounds really cool over the kind of serene and sexy guitar playing. It definitely has a little bit of a 70s funk sort of vibe to it, which is definitely a pretty big influence you can see from Danger Mouse. For example, in some of his work with James Mercer, The Shins, and Broken Bells. Broken Bells, great vocal performance on the track. A lot of these songs lyrically are definitely like straightforward love songs, but the way that Karen O sings these straightforward love songs is definitely enough to leave an impression, and I don't need to hear any more than that. Um, More than that, Leopard's Tongue is by far the most kind of sexual song on the album lyrically, and it does feature some very beautiful poeticisms that definitely are kind of goosebump inducing. For example, the line of just a lick of sweat off your skin, like an aftershock from the prick of a pin. And that point where she hits that high note is also very beautiful, and I really felt that too. That transitions into that catchy chorus. Chorus. David Christian's drumming on the song is definitely very good. Complements the vocals very well. Some interesting instrumental elements in there too. The point where those dub horns came in was really cool. Really cool. It's kind of psychedelic and woozy. And it's got a really nice groove to it that I'm really digging. Really digging. I do want to highlight the two tracks that are the most ambitious, which are the album's opening track and the album's closing track. It opens with the title track, Lux Prima, which is a very beautiful, otherworldly, though patience testing, like 9-minute Odyssey, which opens up with a very beautiful synth interlude featuring a really cool melody that has these sweeping strings and kind of eerie background vocals slowly kind of coming in. And before the song gets some really intricate drumming, resulting in a really triumphant sort of cinematic way to open the album, which is very cool. Then the song turns into this kind of funky Motown soul with R&B group vocals and vocals, as well as very beautiful string arrangements, and instrumentation, and this is really the point where Karen O's vocal performance, I think, really wins me over. I mean, the words she's singing may not be amazing, but the way that she sings them most certainly is. She definitely sounds very passionate on the hook, which I love. A very exciting moment in the record when she goes into that higher range, and the strings and the guitars create this kind of sort of melancholy tone to it that I really like. But then part 3 goes back to the opening synth melody, this time with plucked strings, and it definitely sounds very beautiful in this one moment. And then part 4 features that melody just a little bit faster with a really good rhythm section and some some kind of ethereal la 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 group vocals as well. Well, a great way to open the album. And then the closing track, Nox Lumina, is more stripped back, but definitely very cool also. Love some of the production elements on here, including the cheap drum machine that sounds as though it coming off of some kind of cheap Casio keyboard. Funky, sexy synths on the track that really do show Brian Burton's skills with the keyboard. A kind of sparse beat, a kind of sparse bass line, and I also do really like the intro that features the really beautiful eerie vocal melody in the background, over the very soulful strings. But it's really that midsection that I think is just on point, because that drum machine, along with Karen O's vocal, match perfectly, I must say. say I do wish that part went on for a little bit longer. It kind of ends in a very kind of awkward manner. Though it does make a cool transition into that opening melody from the beginning of the album, which I think very nicely creates that kind of circular effect I was referring to earlier. Um, earlier. In my opinion, this album's biggest low points would have to be its more low-key tracks. I mean, they're okay, but they don't really, affect me quite as much as some of the other cuts on here. Like the song Ministry, it's kind of bland, sort of orchestral arrangements and very kind of whispery vocals were just very underwhelming and didn't really leave an impression on me. So kind of a weak successor to the amazing opening track. The song Drown, while a much better track, I must say, also has some production things that I'm not really digging, including that vocal sample in the middle of that track didn't add anything to the song. Let's just face it. Just face it. And also, it's kind of whisper. It's also a kind of low-key vocal performance here. Definitely was something I didn't really care for. Though I do really like its string arrangements and its kind of operatic group vocals at the end. It's a little over the top, but it actually works in my opinion. Reveries, in my opinion, is the best low-key track here. Really like its kind of ethereal lyrics and instrumentation, especially that moment where the buzzing synthesizers and strings bleed into one another is really gorgeous over the kind of haunting mellotron woodwinds and the kind of lo-fi recorded acoustic guitar. So the acoustic guitar and the vocals are kind of recorded in a lo-fi capacity, but I think it actually really adds to the intimacy of the track and actually blends really well with the more polished electronics that Danger Mouse eventually incorporates in there. They're overall a fantastic project, I must say. In my opinion, this is probably not only one of Karen O's best projects to date, but I think this is also one of Danger Mouse's best projects in a while that he's full-on produced, and really showing that, even though he's definitely got a very spotty kind of catalog, he still definitely is capable of creating music that is very grand and well-produced and very catchy. Very catchy, and I definitely got to give credit to both of them, not only for putting out this very cool collaboration, but also, in my opinion, one of the most entertaining and exciting performances I've seen on late night TV this year, which is the performance of Woman on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. So, yeah, I'm going to have to give Lux Prima a light 8 out of 10. Definitely check out this record. It's not necessarily a perfect album, but it definitely is very much worth your time. So check this out. This is my review of Lux Prima, the new collaboration between Karen O and Danger Mouse, and I'll see you for episode 234.